Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Kathy. Katie. Katie, how are you? Sorry.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. I'm
Awesome.
anxious to tell my story.
That's awesome. Yeah, you were telling me which name you wanted to go by, so people know I'm saying Kathy, Katie. I'm trying to remember which one I you want me to go by. Yeah, yeah. So where about are you?
I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh, okay, I'm in Alberta, in Calgary, Canada. You'd know where that is, and I know where
Oh,
Saskatchewan is.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been here before?
Oh, Calgary lots of times. Yes.
In
Yeah.
the winter?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I sometimes Calgary gets a Chinook weather too a bit
Oh,
sometimes.
we do. That's why I'm still hanging on here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How long have you lived in Saskatchewan and have you always lived there?
All my life.
Oh,
All my life. Yeah, I've lived in the cities too, but I have mostly lived in the rural on a farm,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where my enjoyment is.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing. So, why don't we start by you telling us who you are, what you do, and how do you do it?
Well, my name is Katie, and I recently wrote a book called Cultivating Freedom.
Mhm.
What brought me to this journey was um, I was married to a 33-year narcissistic man and didn't realize the depths of it. On our 28th year of marriage, that's when, with some help of medical staff, that I was informed of what he had mentally. And so I started journaling. I was going to counselors, trying to put all the pieces together. And ultimately, I ended up leaving my marriage and the farm business and walking away. And I have learned many things about narcissism. Uh, I never would have known before. That term was totally new to me when I did hear it. But I've left. I've been in the court system. I've learned many through trials and tribulations. I've learned many lessons. And my goal is to make narcissism awareness for other people so they don't stay as long in a marriage as what I did, because you don't realize the damage until you leave the marriage.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. I think your story is so many other people's stories. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's so hard to, especially when you love someone, to say this is wrong. And it's so hard for us to catch what they're doing and the impact it has or having on us mentally, physically, emotionally. It's draining. So walk us through maybe a little glimpse in the beginning, kind of in the middle, and then your way out of the situation you just left or left. I don't know how long ago you left it.
yeah.
What were some red flags that you noticed?
Well, I was first married, and I had a 4-year-old daughter with another man, and Brent and I got married, and we moved. I sold my house. We moved to the farm, and newly married, I had to go to the field and pick him up from the tractor. And he always criticized my driving. So I thought, well, he's standing a little ways away from the tractor. I'll pull between him and the tractor. He can hop in the driver's side and I'll slide over. Well, I came into the field and he started running for the tractor. And when he got in the truck, he started hollering at me like this rage that I've never ever witnessed from him before. And you tried running me over. You tried running me over. Well, to me, that was such a ludicrous idea. I started laughing because I couldn't believe he would even think that. Like we just got married, and here my daughter's sitting between us, and his body's stiff and raged, and he's hollering. And that's when I kind of backed off, and I thought, okay, there is a major problem here.
Mm,
And paranoia was always evident throughout our marriage. Like somebody was always doing him wrong, or
mhm,
there, you know, paranoia was a very much a part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's kind of my first clue that I knew that something was wrong. Um,
Hmm.
and slowly over time, I'm getting groomed and I don't even realize it. Like I didn't realize it until the last few years, and I didn't realize the damage that was done to me until after I left. But very much control.
Yeah.
And it was his world. And that was one thing that I learned when I started going to counseling, putting the pieces together was the counselor said to me, it sounds like you were a possession and not a wife.
Mm,
And honestly, that was a very hard pill to swallow when you start writing everything down, going back in your life and realizing that it was, he felt it was a contractual marriage.
mhm,
It wasn't an unconditional love. And he owned me, so he could do what he wanted.
mhm.
And that to me was very hard to accept and realize. Um,
Yeah. Mhm,
Towards the end of the marriage, when things weren't very good, as he seemed to be progressing deeper and deeper, um, he would say to me, Katie, I want you to leave. Just leave. Think of it as an adventure. Or why would you hire a lawyer if you want more than you deserve? You, it was almost to the point that I was here to make him succeed, to get what he wanted, and then he was done with me.
mm,
He wanted me gone. He wanted me to walk away.
yeah, yeah,
And so, yeah,
mm,
and I've always worked on the farm,
mm,
and I've had my job off the farm. But when the kids all left home, I was required to be here full time because of the workload. And he had his own combine to run. I had mine. We had our own trucks to dump.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
it was not a good scene.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Um, you described my father. And
Yeah.
I was a child, and there was a lot that was left unsaid, undone. He did pass, but I witnessed the abuse, and it was physical too. And it was in my country in Haiti. People, unless someone's dead, people don't really care. It's allowed, and the woman is just, excuse me, lower than the men. And I'm sure you've heard that, throughout different cultures, how it works when it comes to that aspect of, men thinking they're bigger, higher, stronger. And it was very eye-opening for me. It continues to be because here I am from a different culture. I'm bridging. I came to Canada. I'm like, whoa, women can do that. So can I. It still is very empowering. So I appreciate you sharing. But I'd love to hear in your own words, what is NPD? Maybe someone doesn't understand it, never heard of it, or have heard of it, but what does it mean in your own words?
Okay, NPD is narcissistic personality disorder. So you get they feel that they're entitled, that they're better than anybody else. They do require validation. You praise them, you build them up. They do have an envy of others, and their social skills, they're lacking in their social skills.
Mhm.
And I have to say that was one area where he would say, Katie, I can't talk to people like you can or Tyler can. And I would say, that's okay. Like, can we not compliment each other? We don't all have to be the same. But he felt um, less. And that over time, I think really contributed to our marriage. He didn't like the point that I was open and could converse.
Mhm.
And so towards the end, we would be somewhere and he would start putting me down. And the kids would all be here and we'd be having a family supper. And then out of the blue, he would say, go bath with the dog outside in the trough.
Mhm.
You know, and it honestly got to a point that I couldn't even invite the kids home for a family meal anymore because everybody felt uncomfortable. And I felt that I was losing respect with my kids for tolerating it and putting up with it. And that's that was hard.
Yeah.
You know, you tend not to go out with anybody anywhere when they're constantly putting you down. We're in the grocery store together, and I'm talking to one of the workers, and he came up and he didn't want me talking. He wanted me in and out, and I
Mm.
wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. And I am a talker. And when you're 30 miles on the farm and you finally get to town, you like to visit. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we went through the till and he's pushing the grocery cart. I've got the bags of groceries in my hand and it's raining out. So we walk to the truck and he leaves the grocery cart at the truck full of groceries, walks around the truck and gets in the truck and sits down.
Mhm.
And it's my job to put the groceries in the truck. Well, one of the grocery workers came and said, ma'am, you don't have to put the groceries in the truck. I'll do that for you. And I said, no, that's okay. Like, I'm embarrassed
Mm.
that my husband is doing this and treating me this way.
Mhm.
But this guy, this young man, came and helped me put the groceries in the truck. And I thought to myself, I'm never going anywhere with you again.
Yeah.
I don't deserve that kind of treatment.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 Thank you for sharing. Before we go to the next segment of this incredible episode, um, I'd love for you to speak to people that are watching, whether you know them or not, people that are stuck in the situations that you've been through, especially when there are young kids involved, and especially if there are in-laws involved, all those people there, that makes it difficult to find a way out. What would you say to women and men? I mean, it's both ways. What would you say to us?
I would honestly say go and seek out a counselor. And you might have to see a few different ones to find one that you're jiving with,
Mhm.
so that you can start to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I never ever did tell my family what I was experiencing here. I kept it all quiet. I felt that if I said anything and things worked out between Brent and I didn't want any hard feelings with my family. But after I left, some of his cousins had come up and said, I can remember being at your table and something funny happened, and all the kids looked at their dad to see if it was okay to laugh.
Mm,
And they said, I knew something was going on.
yeah. Yeah.
So I honestly say, I kept everything quiet, but also getting a journal and writing in the journal.
Mhm.
Like when I did after the marriage counselor pulled me aside and said to me, "You seem to understand your husband's mental condition." And I said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "You better figure it out for yourself because it's going to get worse." And prior to going to this marriage counselor, he threatened to shoot our son. And I did confront him about that. And he started laughing. "Oh, Katie, you don't think I'd do that?" And just demean the whole episode. And I looked at him and I said, "The words came out of your mouth. So what is going through your head?"
Mm,
Well, then he starts to cry. I mean, they're fantastic actors. They
yeah.
can manipulate, they play the situations however they need to get what they want.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. You're also an author.
Mhm.
What do you have one book or books?
I have one book
Okay.
called Cultivating Freedom,
Hmm.
and it's my journey from my childhood. I had to go back into my childhood to figure out why I allowed him to treat me like I did. Why did I let my boundaries down?
Ooh.
Because I am a strong person.
Hmm.
And I needed to know so that I don't end up in the same situation. So I have this book, and I'm part of a compilation book that is going to be launched at Calgary Casino on October 17th. And it's about women. And I believe there's 21 authors that each wrote a chapter in there. It's about health journey. There's different views, there's different takes from a variety of women.
Hmm.
And that is, I believe we have prime rib supper on Friday night and the book launch, and there'll be question and answers for anybody that wants to ask any of us questions. And that'll be happening this October. And the book is called She Thrives.
Mm, that's amazing. You know what? I think we should meet. You'd be one of the very first podcast guest that I would meet in person. And
Oh,
yeah, I think please send me more information. I'd love to come and support you, woman to woman. And I know it's going to be explosive and impactful. And there's no better stories to tell than the ones that we've lived, especially very young. So,
well, yeah, and Saturday's going to be full of guest speakers and everything and networking. Like it'll be a really good weekend.
oh,
So I will send you
awesome. I
information.
can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah. So obviously you with your story, that's why you write the book. I'd love to hear your process of how you put it together, um, to tell your story.
Well, when you start counseling, they're always encourage you, and it doesn't matter what counselor you go to, they always encourage you to journal. And through some of the court aspects, sometimes I was frustrated, and I would come home and hit my computer, and it was feeling better. It was just a relief from me. And so then I started going back through my journey of leaving and journaling all that. And then I kept coming up with the question, why did I let this happen?
Mm,
It doesn't make sense. How do I prevent this from happening again?
mm,
So that's when I went right back into my childhood. And honestly, one of the people in the writing group asked me to send this to them so they could read it. And he asked me, he said, "How long did this take you to write?" And I said, "3 weeks." And
Wow.
like he said, "That's impressive." And I said, "Yeah, I'd be lying in bed just making sure that everything happened chronologically and
Yeah.
trying to put the pieces together." And yeah, and then I did join this writing group, and we have our Zoom sessions, and we would be talking, and they said, "Do you realize how many people are going through what you did and are scared to leave?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this writing group is they're amalgamating the companies, and it'll be called 27 Degrees, and it's going globally.
Mhm.
Um, and I've learned so much. There's so much support,
Mhm.
and then yeah, that's how my book came about. At the end, I want to be able to show people the signs and the symptoms, and here's some examples of what happened in my life. Like I was 28 years into the marriage searching. I stayed in my marriage too long.
Mm. Yeah. 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 Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Yeah, just you sharing, you're gonna help so many people. And I'm sure it was scary at times to open up and to let everything out. And I think it's in the silent fears that we know and feel that we can also find freedom in, if that makes sense.
Well, we raised my concern were my kids
Yeah,
because we raised them in a household that everything was kept quiet. What happens at home stays at home.
yeah.
And so I'm doing the total opposite. Like I'm flowing everything out. And I do have concerns with my kids over that, and I do worry about that. But in the same aspect, why do we always protect the abuser? And the
Oh,
abuser keeps moving on.
yeah, yeah.
And if you notice people that have been in a bad marriage or in a bad relationship, they're the ones that aren't with anybody. They're the ones that are healing, going through the steps to get better. Whereas the abuser's just moving on to the next victim and next victim
Hmm.
and next victim.
Yeah, 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 that's true. Yeah. I'm so grateful for my parents, mostly my dad, because they they taught me everything that I should never ever put up with from anybody, any situation. And it was a very toxic way to teach a child. But right now, as a woman, yeah, I'm learning, I'm healing, I'm coping, but I'm ruthless. And because that's what I saw. I'm just that's how I am.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
when
and
yeah, yeah, go
it's
ahead.
funny because my dad was an alcoholic.
Oh, mine
And
too.
and yeah, and I mean, he treated us kids as good as gold. But yet, being a little girl, I can remember seeing that frozen piece of meat chunk that he threw at my mom. And I can't get that out of my mind. And I can remember one Christmas when all the family was together and stuff. And my brother looked at me and he said, "You and I are the only ones that aren't drinking." And I said, "Yeah, like I don't want that part of my life." Like, you can choose to fall in and say, "Oh, well, this is how I was raised," or you can choose to make differences and live the best life that you can.
Yeah, 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 that's true. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Let's touch a bit on the court system. I'm grateful for it. Can it be better? Yeah, it can. I've been through it with child custody and blah blah blah. It is draining, time consuming, and most of the time nothing is done to solve the problems that people come to the judge to face. So tell us more of your experience and what can other people do or know that has been in your shoes or still in your shoes when it comes to the court system?
Well, the first, like, I was really intimidated with the court system. The legal papers come and you're just, it catches you off guard. And of course, I made the petition to leave, and then he countered, and I have an opportunity to say after he counters. And I'm reading it, and it's just like, he's lying. And in my mind, it's just like, okay, Katie, you know this is going to happen. You know this man. So I had to prove his points that he was lying. So I ended up taking pictures. I used 8 by 10 pictures. And my first session in the courtroom, we are not allowed to speak. It's the two lawyers and the judge. And my lawyer looked at me and then looked at the judge. And so the judge knew that I was in court. And at the end of the hearing, he looked at me, the judge looked at me, and then looked at my lawyer and said, I highly recommend that your client get camera surveillance on the farm. So that was huge.
Mhm.
And after the marriage counselor had told me, we better, I better figure it out. And at that time, I was done. Like, you're threatening to shoot our son, everything's happening. I, After that session, I went down and I bought a journal. And every night I journaled in it. I had dates, I had times, I had names. And that fall, that was in February. And then that fall, I started shopping for a lawyer. And that was intimidating because you don't want anybody knowing what you're doing and you want to get a good one. I went with one woman at a very well-known law firm, but every time I went in to see her, she wasn't up on my case, and I didn't get a good feeling. And so I confided in one of our associates, and he sent me over to this other firm to check them out. And I just connected, the lawyer, his dad had passed, his mom farms with his brother. Like, there was just so many connections that he understood the whole industry. He understood what I was going through. Um, and that's how I got that lawyer.
Mhm.
But I kind of went through a few lawyers. Actually, and the one time he stopped off at the farm, like, he got me back on the farm,
Yeah.
and he stopped in and he said he couldn't represent me anymore. Well, I just about died. And I looked at him and I said, "How come?" And he said, "I was offered a job that I couldn't turn down." Well, you can't, I mean, that's life, eh?
Yeah.
And it was with the firm that's representing my husband. So,
Oh.
yeah, I had some major concerns over that.
Mhm.
He said that they weren't allowed to talk about my case or me at all.
Mhm.
And I do believe that that is probably true to some certain stats. He did give me a bunch of names of lawyers to interview, and I did find another one, but their firm is in the same building as my husband's firm.
Yeah.
And I brought in a jar of pickles once for him. And he said to me, he said, "I heard about these pickles." And I said, "You heard about these pickles?" "Yeah, they said that they're very good." And I'm thinking, okay, so there is communication. Like, how deep is this communication? And I was with that lawyer, I felt I couldn't be as open and honest. And he ended up collapsing at work and couldn't represent me anymore. So I had to find another one.
Mm.
And this one that I got, she's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
She 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 recognized, she went through all everything that's been going on, and she recognized that there's something wrong. So then she brought up about one of her clients. I was talking about narcissism and stuff, and I wasn't quite wanting. I wanted her to come to me, and obviously she was recognizing something. So we spent some time. I spent some time educating her, giving her podcasts to listen to, so she can get up to speed on how to deal with them.
Mm, mm,
Um, One thing I am frustrated with the court system is if there's a ruling and they don't follow through, it costs me money to go back to court to force them to follow through.
mm.
And I honestly believe if there is a ruling, the court should make sure that that has transpired and that has been completed.
Yeah, 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 you're right. Yeah.
I do believe that. Um,
Mhm,
and how we're settling everything is in a binding trial. And he didn't want a binding trial because he wants the grandiose, he wants the big show, and me, I'm fine with a binding trial because the judge, whatever the judge does, has to be fair. So both sides had to sign off on this binding trial. And due to the tax consequences with our business, they said that was the only way to go. So I got lucky there.
yeah. Yeah.
And so after the first round of the binding trial, uh, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I got. Because if it was just him, he didn't want me to have anything. But the judge made sure I got monetarily half of that.
Mhm,
And so now we're going back. I don't know if we'll be back in a binding trial or if we can settle out of the binding trial.
mm. What
But
what what is a binding trial?
a
I
binding
don't know.
a binding trial is the judge,
Mhm,
me, Brent, and our lawyers in a room. And proposals are made, and you can talk. Like, you can put your hand up and the justice will say, yes, go ahead. So it is more casual, but things can maybe move a little more as informal, as a formal court.
mhm.
And whatever the judge says happens. Like you can't go back on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So for a narcissist, that's really hard because then they lose control,
Yep.
you know. But tax wise, if it saves you money in taxes on how you plan on splitting, then I mean, that's benefit for everybody.
Mm, yeah. Thank you for explaining because I didn't know. I've never been married, so I don't know.
Well, we had what was called a discovery too, and this was new to me. I didn't realize I would have to do it. Um, it's when I'm in a room with my lawyer and Brent is there with his lawyer. It's being videotaped and his lawyer can ask me any questions and I have to respond. And if I do not know the answer, then that I have to follow up and get the answers for him.
Mm, okay.
And so my lawyer privately was quizzing me up on some questions and everything. And I honestly, it went way better than what I thought it would be
Yeah.
because once again, you know your opponent. You know he won't be honest. You know he won't tell the whole story to his lawyer.
Yeah.
And if you want your lawyer to represent you, they have to know everything. So there was a few times where the discovery ended up off record, and then his lawyer said, "We got to get this equipment sold." And I said, "I agree."
Hmm.
And then he said, "My client doesn't want any." And my lawyer said, "Well, my client wants some." And then Brent looks at his lawyer. No, no. What did we fill out last summer? And the lawyer and Brent actually started having a small little argument or conversing back and forth in front of my lawyer and I. And then I think they realized and they said, we'll talk about this in my office.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and I know in Brent's discovery, there were several times where they had to stop the recording because his lawyer wasn't aware of certain financials or certain situations.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. That sounds so complex.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, wow. Good for you for knowing what you needed to do, for listening to your intuition and heart. The heart never lies. The brain, it's a little fickle, but good for you for listening to that and for finding peace, for finding you, because it can become so difficult and also easy to lose ourselves in those situations.
Well, it was honestly, I had the papers filled out in January of 2019 to leave, and I still waited until I think it was the 19th of March. I left. Like you wait for signs or something. Tell me something that this is going to change, not get progressively worse.
Mm,
And there was never anything. And like I felt I had no choice but to
mm,
leave. And
yeah.
I know that one day, like I had been staying in my own bedroom for over 2 years. And I said to my daughter, I said, just wait, I'll go get something from my bedroom. So she followed me into the bedroom and she said, Mom, if you don't get out of here, she said, you're going to be in a nursing home before you know it.
Mm,
And I said, I can't leave until I exhaust all avenues with your dad to try and help him.
mhm.
And yeah, probably about 6 or 7 months after I left, that's when I started realizing and understanding the damage that I allowed him to do to me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you for sharing. Um, what has been your healing journey what does it look like, your healing journey?
Actually, honestly, I this book has been a huge help to me. And now my journey, I want to let people know. I want to let men and women know the signs and the symptoms and the detrimental effect that this has on you.
Hmm.
Um, and that's like I'm very passionate about trying to help others so that they don't walk the same path
Yeah,
as long as I did.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank
You
you
know,
for sharing. Yeah. Yeah, I wish someone had done that for me then. I would have taken a detour to so many heartbreaks and lessons. Yeah, that's amazing that you're doing that. Yeah. Is there anything else we didn't talk about that you'd like to share with us?
um, just when they start to groom you, you don't realize how subtle it is.
Hmm.
Um, it starts with the little things. Like for example, we used to have party lines on the phone, and we had a phone in the shop. So if somebody would phone me at the house, I would hear him pick up the phone at the shop. He would, what we
Oh,
call rubberneck,
oh
listen
wow.
in on all my calls.
Yeah.
And then when we got cell phones, I found him going through my phone. And
Wow.
even if I had a girlfriend dropping something off, he would be hiding behind the door to hear what the conversation was.
Yeah.
Like it started with the little things of picking up the phone and it escalates. And it starts with, no, like, are you sure you're going to eat that?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Meaning I'm getting a little heavy, and judging the food I'm eating and
Hmm.
and no, don't park the truck there.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you go and move it. And then you say, well, is this better? Like and well, no, why would you park it there? And it's never good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you as a person, you're always changing yourself up. What can I do to make him happy?
Mm.
It's all about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
One place I did have strength was with my kids.
Mm.
Uh, they would be practicing for the Christmas play, and it would be a potluck supper at the local community hall. On Sunday, we're all getting dressed up, gonna go for this church celebration at Christmas, and he would sit there in the living room, no, you're not going.
Mm.
And I said, yes, I am. And I said, and you're not coming. And
Yeah.
I loaded the kids up in the car. We went down to the local hall. We sang Christmas songs. We had a beautiful evening. But if he's not the center of attention, he's not happy.
Mm.
And he is very social. He struggles socially. So going out to an event is hard, like is a bit hard for him. He's very selective on what events he goes to. Um,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's you like if he could keep me locked up here and control every move, he would.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But no, my kids gave me a lot of strength in certain situations.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing that they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So I have, I think, two questions for you as we wrap up. The first one I ask every guest is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Freedom.
Mm. Oh, I love
Freedom.
that.
I have grandchildren that come out to the farm from town, and my little granddaughter says, Grandma, I wish I could live on the farm. And I said, well, what is it, the farm? What about the farm do you like? And she said, space.
Mm. Yeah.
And often she'll come out and spend the weekend with me, and it kind of gets them out of the rat race. Of going to this activity and that. When they're in a lull of activities, they're out here, and we got chickens and turkeys, and they're out in the coop doing the
Yeah.
chores, and that's their thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a
That's amazing.
grandson that's 7 that's been coming out to the farm every day with his dad this past week
Hmm.
to work with his dad and ride the combine.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's
no,
amazing. Yeah, that's really
no,
cool.
it's-
I grew up on a farm, milking, butchering, all of it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we butcher the chickens too. I
yeah,
got into that job last year, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
got
I've done
wrangled
it.
into it this year.
Yeah, there's something about the farm that you can't get anywhere else.
No, no,
Not in the city. I swear I'm going crazy and in Calgary. It's so loud, so busy, and my senses, everything gets to be too much, and I get overwhelmed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here on the farm, it's amazing. Like we'll have cousins come and stay the weekend, and that's one thing they say. It's so quiet out there. And
Oh
I
yeah.
said, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So where can people find you and connect with you? And maybe they want to buy your book and see what else you're doing in the community.
Okay. You can connect with me on www.cultivatingfreedom.ca. And if you subscribe to the website, you will get all the latest episodes and information regarding me and the books coming out. Um, I'm also on Instagram, Cultivating Freedom 2024.
Hmm.
Please join me there, and I'll have tidbits and red flags and
Yeah.
such to pay attention to. Um, but yeah, this
Awesome.
honestly, this is this is turning out to be a fantastic journey I'm on.
Yes, yes, definitely. So let's say there are people who live where I live in Calgary and they want to come to your event coming up. How do they do that? Or is everything on the website to sign up for it or?
I will send you the information.
Okay.
The tickets right now is just for the authors and the author's family, and then they're opening the ticket sales up here in September. And I'll send you the information, the website, and you can take
Okay.
it from there. I think it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Oh yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
it. So yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to having more and coming there. I'm excited. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be looking for you.
I will too. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your heart and for showing your scars proudly with no fear and for guiding and leading those who need it the most. So thank you.
Oh, I enjoyed being here, and thank you for giving me your time.
Yeah.
It feels good to
Yes.
spread awareness.
Yes, definitely does. So thank you.